Have you ever reached a point in life where trust no longer arrives easily? Where someone is kind to you and part of you wonders what they want? Where a door opens and part of you looks for the trap? Where a person says the right words and something in you begins searching for the hidden cost of it. Mm. You are not foolish for noticing. No, 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 no. Because life teaches people, and people disappoint. Rooms change. Promises collapse. Warmth sometimes disappears without warning. And so, after a while, the heart learns to look twice. Surely, looking twice can be wisdom, yes. But there is a point where looking twice becomes never receiving. There is a point where caution becomes atmosphere. There is a point where protection begins speaking as though it were truth. This is not a message about naivety, no. This is not a message about trusting everyone, no. This is not a message about ignoring energy, signals, patterns, or the body. This is a message about discernment. And there is a difference. There is a person who says, I have discernment. But what they often mean is, I expect disappointment. I prepare for betrayal. I do not believe goodness until it has survived interrogation. They are not trying to be difficult, no. Often, they are trying to be safe. They are trying to be safe because they have learned that being open can cost something. They have learned that people are not always what they appear to be. They have learned that the unseen sometimes speaks before the facts arrive. So these people, they read tone, they read timing, they read silence, they read the pause before someone answers. They read the smile, they read the energy, they read the room. And sometimes yes, sometimes they are right. Sometimes the body notices what language has not yet confessed. Sometimes the atmosphere changes before the conversation does. Sometimes a person's presence speaks before their mouth opens. Sometimes the unseen gives information. That is real. Because the unseen matters, energy matters, atmosphere matters, intuition matters, the body matters. A person cannot only live inside what can be measured plainly, no. Because we all participate in fields, in relationships, in tones, in signals, and in states. But the unseen requires governance. Because without governance, intuition can become projection. Sensitivity can become suspicion. A warning can become a habit, and fear can begin calling itself like spiritual intelligence. Mhm. Well, not every contraction is a command. Not every discomfort is a message. Not every hesitation is intuition. Not every fear is the universe protecting you. Sometimes fear is simply fear. Sometimes memory is speaking before wisdom does. And that distinction there matters. Because if inner alarm is treated as truth, then discernment has disappeared. And when discernment disappears, what remains is a nervous system wearing a crown. Cynicism often feels intelligent. It feels sharp. It feels mature. It feels like proof that you can no longer be fooled. It says, I see through things, but often it no longer sees. No, it only suspects. Cynicism predicts disappointment and calls such prediction of wisdom. It assumes the worst when then and then feels powerful when the world offers any evidence that pain was possible. But predicting pain is not the same as perceiving truth. Suspicion is not vision. No. Suspicion often looks through a dirty window and then blames the landscape for being unclear. Discernment cleans the window first. Then it looks. Because discernment does not require darkness in order to feel intelligent. No. Discernment sees clearly. Cynicism sees darkly and mistakes darkness for depth. There is a difference, a night and day one. A wound can become a lens. After betrayal, the person looks for betrayal. After rejection, the person looks for rejection. After being used, the person looks for hidden motives. After being disappointed, the person questions sincerity. And believe me, this is understandable. In fact, it is deeply understandable. But understandable does not automatically mean accurate. No. Because the wound may explain why the interpretation appeared. It does not prove the interpretation is true. Memory is allowed to speak. Yes. It deserves respect. Yes. It may carry information. Surely. It may recognize a pattern before the conscious mind does. But memory is not automatically prophecy, no. And pain is not automatically perception. Sometimes old pain enters a new room first, before the person does, before love does, before opportunity does, before trust does. And then the present is forced to answer for a crime that has been committed by the past. Cynicism protects distance. It keeps people far enough away to prevent surprise. It keeps opportunities small enough to prevent disappointment. It keeps joy under suspicion so that loss cannot arrive unannounced. But distance has a cost. A person may avoid being fooled, and rightly so, but they also avoid being met. They may avoid some disappointments, but they may also avoid intimacy, possibility, warmth, and most of all, life. You cannot receive what you are always prosecuting. You cannot receive kindness while putting it on trial. You cannot receive opportunity while accusing it of betrayal. Same way, you cannot receive love while demanding it prove it is not every wound you remember. Some people are not discerning. They are defended. And the defense may be elegant. It may be quiet. It may even sound wise. But if nothing can enter, if nothing can be received, if nothing can remain innocent, then it is not discernment. It is armor. Remember this. Discernment is clean perception. Not perfect perception, no. Not omniscience, no. Not magical certainty. Clean perception. The ability to see what is present without forcing reality to become a servant of old fear. Discernment can say, I do not know yet, and that is strength. It does not need to panic when information is incomplete. It does not need to rush judgment because ambiguity feels uncomfortable. No. Discernment waits. Discernment watches. Discernment listens. Discernment does not deny the signal. No, that would be foolishness. Discernment acts when if something feels off, discernment pays attention to it. If a pattern repeats, it notices it. If the energy changes, it registers a change. If the body contracts, it listens. But it does not confuse listening with immediate conclusion. No. Discernment asks, what is actually happening? What am I sensing? What am I assuming? What does this remind me of? What evidence is present? What evidence is missing? What would wisdom do with this information? The unseen must be honored, yes, but not worshipped blindly, no. Energy may speak, the body may speak, atmosphere may speak. Dreams, symbols, synchronicities, and inner movements may carry meaning. Yes, that all is true. But meaning requires maturity. A symbol is not always an instruction. A feeling is not always a command. A coincidence is not always a decree. A contraction is not always a warning. So, discernment does not flatter mystery. No, not at all. Discernment governs the relationship with mystery. Spiritual perception without grounding becomes distortion. A person begins seeing messages everywhere, but cannot make a clean decision. A person speaks of energy, but do not examine pattern. They speak of vibration, but do not govern reaction. They speak of intuition, but remain obedient to fear. Grounding is not the enemy of mystery, no. Grounding protects mystery from becoming fantasy. Structure protects sensitivity from becoming chaos. And wisdom protects intuition from becoming theater. And all this is why discernment matters. Because discernment does not ask you to become exposed now. It does not ask you to hand your life to every person, to every room, to every opportunity, to every pleasant feeling. No. Let's make one thing very, very clear. Openness is not exposure. Openness is not surrendering the gate. Huh? The gate remains, that is important, but it does not become a prison wall. See the difference? A sovereign life has thresholds. Not everyone receives access to it. Not every opportunity deserves obedience. Not every invitation deserves entry. But the gate must be governed by wisdom, not by fear disguised as wisdom. You may open and still be governed. You may be warm and still discerning. You may be receptive and still protected. You may listen to energy without being ruled by every sensation. This is maturity. This is not softness. This is command. The ability to remain available to life without becoming careless. The ability to perceive danger without making danger the atmosphere of your entire existence. Huh? There is a person who has been suspicious for so long that peace feels unfamiliar. When something good arrives, they do not rest. Instead, they brace. When someone is kind, they search for the motive. When life softens, they look for the approaching fall. Goodness can feel unsafe after too much disappointment. Yeah, that is real. Okay? The body may need time. The heart may need gentle re-entry into life. Yes. Because no one becomes receptive by being commanded to relax. No. So we do not shame the defense. No. The defense may have protected something sacred. Right? It may have kept the person intact through rooms that did not deserve their openness. But defense is not meant to become the climate of an entire life. No. Because at some point, life must be allowed to approach. Carefully, yes. Wisely, more so. With observation, surely. But not always through the bars of suspicion. No. So, discernment is not cynicism. Cynicism begins with distrust and calls it intelligence. Discernment begins with presence and allows reality to reveal itself. Cynicism expects corruption. Discernment studies the pattern. Cynicism closes. Discernment clarifies. Cynicism accuses quickly. Discernment observes cleanly. Cynicism assumes the worst. Discernment waits for truth without abandoning commands. Cynicism is tired protection. Discernment is governed perception. That sentence matters, okay? Because many people have confused the two for years. So the work is not to stop seeing, the work is to see cleanly, to honor sensitivity without becoming ruled by suspicion, to honor energy without worshipping fear, to honor the body without making every contraction king. And here is where this becomes practical. Clean discernment creates courage. Because when everything feels dangerous, every step becomes heavy. Every attempt becomes risky. Every beginning becomes humiliating before it even happens. Not every risk is a warning. Sometimes the heat in the face is not danger. Sometimes the trembling is not a sign to stop. Sometimes embarrassment is not death. Sometimes it is simply the doorway of your next step. Do not let fear inherit the language of wisdom. Do not let old pain become your only interpreter. Do not let suspicion call itself discernment because it sounds more dignified. The unseen matters. Energy matters. Atmosphere matters. Intuition matters. But they must be governed. Because what is powerful must also be disciplined. Otherwise, the gift becomes distortion. So, let reality reveal itself. Let the signal speak. Let the pattern show itself. Let the body be heard. Let the old wound be respected, but not enthroned. And for those who require discernment beyond what is shared here, there are forms of work not conducted in public. Access exists. Now, remember this. Discernment keeps the gate. Cynicism locks the house. One protects your life so truth can enter wisely. Yes. The other prevents life from entering at all. Do not confuse the two. Because you are not here to become naive. No. You are not here to become suspicious of everything. You are here to become clear. Clear enough to perceive. Clear enough to receive. Clear enough to choose.